Hello,
Whoops.
everyone. Hope everyone enjoyed their International Yoga Day yesterday. Well, today, back to the basics. We are talking about how to age well. Well, specifically focuses today on women because I think women are more concerned about aging well than men for some reason. But anyway, that's the topic. So we have Suzy with us. Suzy is a functional medicine health coach. She is joining me live from UK, and she turned 50, and isn't that she looks amazing. So we're going to find out her trip and what she tells her clients today. Welcome, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here. Honestly, it's a pleasure and a topic that I feel really passionate about. So yeah, let's dive in.
All right, let's just start specifically for women as we start aging, right? I mean, we say, oh, as we get older, we lose our spark. What are your thoughts? And specifically women who are inching to 50 and beyond, entering menopause, perimenopause, all those things, right? So let's just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, here in the UK, I'm sure where you are as well, where people are listening, women are really struggling around this age. You know, you're sandwiched between perhaps looking after children, looking after elderly parents, stressful job, you know, being the emotional barometer of the whole household. And then you throw in the perimenopause, you know, the menopause, and it's this whole cauldron. It's like a perfect storm of stress. And so I think it's not surprising that a lot of women just feel washed out, like they are clinging on by their fingernails, just getting through each day. Self-care is right at the bottom of their list. They haven't even got a minute to think about looking after themselves, nor the headspace. So yes, women can feel, you know, gray and old and like they've lost their spark. But that's absolutely not inevitable. And I know personally speaking, I'm 51 now, and I have a lot more get up and go now than I did at 41 or 31. And that's purely down to my habits. That's what's changed. No, it's still same me, same family, same body, but I look after myself in a different way than I did at 41 or 31.
Okay, so let's just focus on women who are inching to 50 and what kind of daily routines they should do. How should they look as amazing as they've always looked before? I mean, that's the personal beauty from outside, but inside too, right? You want to be healthy. It's not just the outside skin we are talking about.
Absolutely.
So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's from the inside as well. And obviously we live in a society where everything is about the surface. You know, anyone who's on Instagram is going to feel that pressure of having the perfect abdominal muscles and the perfect skin and all the rest of it. Huge amount of pressure and very removed from where most women are. So what we're finding is that many women are just beating themselves up. You know, they're feeling exhausted, tired, unmotivated to look after themselves. And then they have to look at all these perfect images, which make them feel even worse about themselves. So, you know, we talk about trying to look, I mean, I don't think we should be trying to stop time because obviously, you know, I mean, we've just gone into summer now. We had the summer solstice yesterday. It would be crazy to think that a tree couldn't drop its leaves in autumn. You know, you wouldn't want to halt the passage of time. So we have this crazy idea that we can't age, you know, which is a very new phenomenon, which is quite damaging for women. But certainly there's lots that women can do to age gracefully, you know, in a way that they don't feel old beyond their years and feel grey and washed out. And that's a whole combination of factors that's down to, from what they're eating on a daily basis to their sleep, obviously a massive thing, and managing their stress. I mean, it's all the things that you've probably heard 1,000 times, but these are the fundamentals that there's just no getting away from, that we need to, you know, these fundamentals, moving in a way that we enjoy, what we put in our mouths. And yes, absolutely, there are supplements. And I know personally speaking, I started taking collagen in my mid-40s. The reason for that was that I knew I had poor bone density. I'd had a DEXA scan. There was a problem in my hips. My mum was breaking bones all over the place. And a nutritional therapist friend of mine said, Suzy, start taking collagen. So I started taking that at the age of 45. And when I had another bone density scan, DEXA scan at age 50, there had been an improvement. And I find that really empowering to know that just because you're on a downward trajectory, your body is renewing itself the whole time. And if you put in things that your body can use, it can start to improve things. So it's never too late or too early to start to give your body what it needs to thrive.
So I want to get a little bit more specific, right? Let's just talk a little bit on the daily routine. So you said the kind of care you do now when you were 31 or 41 and now 51 is different. So I really want to go a little bit on the checklist of what women should do when they're turning 50, because now the estrogen is going down, right? And then menopause is hitting in. There's a hormone imbalance that's happening at the same time, right? Now add in the hot flashes and the mood swings, and now you have the pressure to look amazing. That's what I really want to focus on. What kind of a daily routine we should focus as women, and what should we do?
Okay, so for me, my morning routine, which I teach, I encourage everyone to have a morning routine, because I think if you can get that in place, you can't control the rest of the day. You don't know what's going to happen with kids, parents, colleagues. You have no idea what stresses are going to be thrown at you. But if you can start the day with even 5 minutes of self-care, that's going to set the tone of the day, and help with sleep and all the other things which we know affect those hormone levels. So we can help our body to have more balance than it would do otherwise. So simple things like, the first thing I do, I have an essential oil mix by my bed. I will literally just self-touch is very soothing. I'll massage it in, I'll take some breaths, and I'll write in my gratitude journal. So these things take minutes. They're very, very quick. But I also do some tapping. So I don't know if you're familiar with EFT tapping, but I don't get out of bed without tapping, because it brings down the cortisol, it helps build our emotional resilience. And these are all important in helping our hormones to be in balance. So these very short, sharp things that I just do now as a routine. I don't even think about it. Whereas before, I used to wake up to BBC News. Immediately, I'd be worried about wars, financial crashes, all of these things, and immediately in a state of stress. So I make sure that I'm not looking at any news first thing, that I'm doing things that are nurturing so that I can start the day calmly. That's, I think, very important.
Okay, so starting the day with either meditation, some women can also, or you can also start with simple yoga, right? 10 minutes yoga.
Perfect.
Yeah, tapping, essential oils, journaling, massaging, all these are ideas, right? Whatever one wants to do.
Exactly. I would say go with what feels most natural to you. For some people, it will just be, a sun salutation, getting outside. I went outside very early this morning and just put my feet on the grass and looked up at the sky and did a little simple stretch. Nothing complicated. It wasn't a particular routine, but it's just starting the day calm. And of course, once we look at the daylight, it sets our circadian rhythm, helps our sleep at night. These very small practices. So yes, not going to take away the hot flashes and everything, but if we can do whatever we can to have that rest, and that calm, and not be constantly doing, what's the next thing on my to-do list. Just taking those few minutes makes a huge difference.
Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about the diet part, because diet part is equally important, right? So any recommendations on what to load on and what to let go?
Yeah, sure. So I think, one of the key things has got to be getting your blood sugar stable, because I know for me, all through my 30s, 20s, half my 40s, I was on a blood sugar roller coaster, because I genuinely thought my cereal or my bagel was a really good breakfast. No one ever explained to me that was spiking my blood sugar, and that when I went to work and I was in a really bad mood and starving, that was because of my breakfast. I had no idea that I was doing that to myself. And especially as we get into this age, I know for me in lockdown, I started making a lot of sourdough and eating sourdough, and I wasn't used to eating that much bread. Now, at the age of 40, I could have got away with that, no problem. At the age of 50, I put on over a stone. And that was still being my healthy health coach lifestyle. I put on over a stone. just through eating the sourdough. So, you know, we just become less tolerant of carbohydrates as we get older. And it was a real lesson for me when I actually couldn't do my coat up. I mean, that was a real shock because I've always been slim and I thought I could get away with eating whatever, that I could go so far off the rails, even as a health coach, without comfort eating, without turning to alcohol. I wasn't doing any of those things. I was making a organic rye, homemade sourdough. But now the age that I am, I'm just less tolerant of carbohydrates and I need to, you know, so having the breakfast that is high, you know, your protein, a palm-sized amount of protein, your good fats, whether it's nuts, seeds, avocado, you know, your different colored vegetables, making sure you're getting enough fiber. But we have to realize that we are more prone to put on the weight around the belly, which is really not a good idea. I have a very strong family history of type 2 diabetes, so I really can't be putting on weight, you know, around my middle. It's not a good idea for me. So yeah, I had to adapt. I had to accept that I just couldn't eat all that sourdough. I have to maybe have it occasionally.
Okay, so limiting on carbohydrates, right? That's what the message is. Low carb diet and from going up on the protein. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, starting a meal with the, you know, making sure you've got your protein, just a palm-sized amount, whatever protein you like, you know, chicken, beef, turkey, tofu, whatever, eggs. And that with the fiber is going to, you know, with the good fats, is going to stabilize your blood sugar, because having that blood sugar all over the place is really, really, we have to make sure that we're not having that. It's very damaging on many levels. So, and I find that most women haven't quite grasped that. They're still having muesli or granola or toast, or cereal with a banana on top, and not realizing that it's actually spiking their blood sugar, and then they're having cravings. So then they're eating the chocolate, etc., etc. So even just something as simple as that, as getting your breakfast right, is going to make a huge difference.
So what about breakfast, like you said about, what could be different combinations of breakfast? Like oatmeal, you think that is with nuts, or some kind of an egg with protein? So that it, and some, right? So those kind of combinations, or tofu scramble with some kind of a spinach or vegetables, or some little sweet, right? Something like that.
Nice. I mean, this morning I had full fat organic Greek yogurt with lots of nuts and seeds, and I threw extra walnuts. So I have a lot of nuts and seeds. I actually had it savory, so I put on extra virgin olive oil. It's just making sure that you're piling on that fat with every meal. You know, we need to be eating those healthy fats. And that then kept me full until lunchtime. Whereas before, when I used to have my bagel, within an hour, I would be starving and not able to think. You know, I'd have total brain freeze. So I'm really passionate about helping people just to focus on breakfast, because it's going to affect your whole day, So very simple and very quick.
Okay, so yeah, I 100% agree with you. I used to be the same way, eating bagel or cereal, and I think I'm the healthiest person. But then, you know, sugar spikes, and they put so much sugar, right, in cereals, and it was crazy. The weight and all those issues. I went through the same issues, because I think most of the women, we don't understand the cereal is, they add so much sugar and it's not healthy for you, and we end up eating that in the mornings.
Absolutely. I used to work for the food industry for many years. So I kind of know all their little tricks and what they put on the front of the package to distract us. But yeah, you don't want to be eating out of a box, you know, for your breakfast. And even the healthy cereals, you know, it's still not a good idea to go for those. Porridge, which I think you call oatmeal over there, I used to have for ages, think it was really healthy, and I couldn't understand why I was starving within an hour, and it was because it was spiking my blood sugar. So if you're a big fan of porridge, just make sure that you're putting some nuts, seeds, nut butter, whatever, you know, just to balance that out.
Okay, well, this is a quick 10 to 15 minute session. What else would you like to talk about? And, you know, I just want to keep it condensed so that people can synthesize the information, and our platform is being launched. You can get all kind of information in that, more workshops and programs. And
I would just say to women I know it's really hard to put yourself first, and you might be tempted to be doing admin and house jobs and all sorts of things at nighttime. But I would ask you, please, to treat yourself to going to bed a little bit earlier tonight, maybe having a lovely relaxing bath with Epsom salts, but just take the time to relax. You know, everyone will benefit if you can focus on treating yourself to getting away from your phone, get your phone out of your bedroom, ideally. And there will always be more jobs to do, you know, and women are just naturally going to want to sacrifice themselves for everyone else. But I think everyone loses like that. So just please put yourself first, because, you know, we only have this body to live in. This is the only place we will ever have to live, and we have to look after it.
That's beautifully said. Self-care is very, very important for all of us. If we take care of ourselves, then only we can help our families and, you know, loved ones, right? The kids and the whole baggage that comes whenever in a woman's life. I mean, that's true. But you know, that is the fact. And we put everyone else first, and we don't take care of ourselves. And then later on, as we age, as women age, I should say that, and they get all kind of problems. I know my mom has all kind of problems. So. Yeah, but you know, that's pretty common, right? For a lot of women out there, when they start getting in their 70s and 80s, they start having health problems, right? So we don't want to go there. We want to go there nice and healthy when we reach the, you know, reach that position, right?
We do. I absolutely feel that I want my kids to be able to live wherever they want in the world, and not have to come and look after me because, God forbid, I've got Alzheimer's or whatever, you know. I just want them to be able to go and live their lives. And I think that for me is a big motivator, that I want to keep myself healthy for as long as possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Suzy, for amazing, amazing tips. To all the viewers, keep supporting us. We are almost at 250,000 followers and going strong. We're launching our platform. We're going with an app. So a lot of good things are happening this year. So stay tuned and keep supporting us with that. Have a great week.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye-bye.